Meet the newest member of the Chasing Cars long-termer fleet. It's the Cupra Born. We've only got it for about 3 months, so not exactly long-term, but that's still enough to find out whether this electric hatchback should be on your consideration list. Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
The Born has been out since early 2023 in Australia, but just in case you're not familiar with it, here's a quick recap. So Cupra is the design-driven Spanish brand from the Volkswagen Group. The Born is the brand's first dedicated electric car, though there is an electric SUV called the Tavascan coming in early 2025. It sits on the MEB electric architecture, which not only underpins a whole range of electric VWs, but also several electric Fords. It's pitched as a hot hatch, but it's also not that cheap. The Born costs $59,990 RRP, so about $63,000 on the road. But as always, it's important to get a bit of perspective on pricing. So let's have a look at some of the rivals. Okay, so there's the new Jeep Avenger. That's priced between $50,000 and $61,000 plus on-road costs. It's a bit smaller than the Born at 4.1 meters. There's Volvo Scandi Chic EX30. That's also between $60,000 and $71,000 plus on-roads. Hyundai's Kona Electric, that's between 54 and 71k plus on roads. There's Renault Megane's E-Tech, 54,990 before on roads, approximately 60,000 on the road. So you can see the Born is kind of in a similar area. There's also Alfa Romeo Junior that's coming. We don't know how much that will cost. There's the Zeekr X, a new entrance from China. That's going to be pretty interesting. And there's also Volkswagen's twin ID3 to this car, if it ever gets here. We've been waiting a long time for that. But for extra perspective and a bit of a negative for the Born, well, there's the MG4 hatchback, and we really like that car. The long range version of that, one of the flagship, if you don't count the X-Power Performance version, that's not very good. Well, that's $55,000 drive away, so that does look good value compared with the Born. And of course, there's also the Tesla Model 3. That's cheaper than this car, just very fractionally, but that gives you a mid-sized sedan. And as ever, you know, Teslas, they are very good value for money. Let me take you on a quick guide to the spec of our long-term Born. So there is a sportier VZ variant coming in around March, April 2025, but for now it is just a single spec that's available. Our long-termer comes in an optional Aurora Blue paint, and I think it looks quite striking. I don't know about you, let us know. Now, Cupra is renowned for using a copper signature highlight program kind of around its car. So here we've got the bronzy color for the brand name here, the Transformers style logo here, and then also this section here on the lower face of the car. Round to the side, more copper used on the blade style 19-inch alloy wheels. They look really cool, I think. Now, this isn't copper, but it's still an interesting design feature, this textured C-pillar. And then around the back, there's more copper for the Cupra brand name, and also the surround and logo on the boot lid lever, which is also one of my favorite features of the exterior, because this little part is made of carbon fiber, or at least it feels like real carbon fiber. The Born comes with 2 optional packages, and both are actually quite reasonably priced. The performance package, which isn't fitted to our car, that's $2,600, and that gives you bigger 20-inch alloys, and it also comes with sportier rubber, that's 20 millimeters wider, and there's also adaptive suspension called dynamic chassis control. The option package we do have is the interior package. That's $2,900, and I'm going to show you what you get for that package. The interior package then comes with these rather lovely Dynamica suede seats, finished in Aurora Blue, so it matches the exterior colour of our long-termer. The front seats also get electric adjustment. There's heating and even massage function for both front occupants. There's also a 395-watt Beats audio system. Now, what are the key standard cabin highlights, you may ask? Okay, well, you've got a 12-inch infotainment touchscreen here in the center of the dash. There's a 5.3-inch digital driver display pod here, similar to what you get in the other VW Group compact EVs like the ID3. There is wireless phone charging here, and there's also this very nice leather steering wheel. Comes with a couple of buttons as well, drive mode and a Cupra logo here. We're going to explore more about those when we actually get out driving the car in our next long-term report. Okay, so for a $60,000 hatchback, we should probably also assess interior quality. So here, overall, I think very good. So yeah, there are some hard plastics, but there's textures which make them a little bit more interesting. They're not shiny and hard and plasticky, scratchy. So you've got some of these matte effects here on the dash, soft and textured on the upper dash. You've got more of this suede-like material that we have for the lovely seats here on the center console, also on the door armrests, also the console bin top slash center armrest. And just like the exterior, there are more of those copper signature highlights. So here on the center console, a little bit around the vents, also a little bit here on the door armrest. And again, just for the surrounds on the buttons on the steering wheel and the Cupra Transformer logo. So yeah, overall, I think perception of quality is quite high. Some features, however, that you might expect to be standard on a car costing from $60,000. The tailgate is manual rather than automatic operation. There's no wireless connection for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's USB only. And if you forget your cable, there is no integrated factory nav. So that's pretty annoying as well. Perhaps a car costing this much should also come with a panoramic sunroof, and that would also help brighten up a cabin that is quite dark. The rear seat of the Bourne, disappointments, well, hard plastics rule the roost here on the door trims and the back of the center console. No rear air vents. That's really disappointing, and I can tell you your family or your kids in the back will definitely complain about that on a hot summer's day. Interestingly, if you pick either the interior or performance packages, they reduce the rear seat to a two-seater only, and that's because the extra weight compromises the rear axle load according to Australian regulations. So instead, the middle seat turns into this sort of weird scooped out section, which I guess you can chuck a smartphone or something in there, or even a drinks bottle on its side. Do get a center armrest with a couple of cup holders. And also as standard is generous rear seat space. So it's a 4.3 metre long vehicle, but almost 2.8 metres of that is the wheelbase. So there is generous knee space, headroom, foot space. The rear floor is completely flat thanks to that battery that's under the floor. And where Cupra's engineers have been clever, these batteries that are integrated into the chassis, they do lift the floors up and they can compromise bench comfort. But here, Cupra has given a really nice upwards angle to the bench, so you sit into it really nicely. You've got good under thigh support. So a bit of a mixed result for the Bourne's rear seat. Last area to check out for the interior, and that's the boot. Another excuse to use one of my favourite features. Okay, so boot space quoted at 385 litres. It's pretty good, a little bit more than a Golf, for example. Quite deeply set here. Charging cable in the mix, that's important. We've got a little light over there, a ski port, 12-volt socket. What's under the floor? Okay, nothing at all really. No spare tyre, but that's not really uncommon these days. That's our quick spec guide, first look at the Cupra Bourne long-termer. In future reports on the Bourne, we're going to look at whether this is a genuine hot hatch, fun to drive. We're going to find out if it can match or even beat its WLTP range of 511 kilometres. I have a feeling we'll even throw it into a comparison test. What do you want to know about a Cupra Bourne? Let us know in the comments below. But for now, that wraps up our first report on the Cupra Bourne long-termer. Thanks for watching Chasing Cars, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe.